everybody. It's Michelle, and I'm really excited about the craft that I've got for you today. Today we're doing printed candles, and this is one of my favorites. I learned how to do the printed candles a few years ago, and I made up several as Christmas gifts that year, and they went over really well. Right after that, everyone started calling and wanting to order candles, and I did so many. And really, you can do these for absolutely any occasion, because you can print out whatever it is that you want on there. And in order to get that on there, we're going to print it on tissue paper. And the way that we get that to go through our printer so that we can print on that is we're going to tape it to a piece of cardstock, so that will easily feed through our printer. And I just went ahead and cut a piece of tissue paper here, just a little smaller than the size of my paper, and then we're just going to tape that onto there with Scotch tape. And pay attention if your tissue paper has a shiny side and a more porous side. If it does, then you want to have your shiny side facing up so that that's the side that gets printed on. That way your more porous side will be against the candle to more easily absorb the wax. And with this, the thinner the tissue paper, the better. If you don't want to print it out, or if you don't have the means to print it out, you can just take your tissue paper and draw some artwork on there, have a child draw on there. You can even use paper napkins. Just if those are a 2-ply, just be sure to peel away the back layer and only use the layer that's printed on. Like I said before, the thinner the better. That's going to melt in a lot easier. So those really work out great with the napkins. Really, as long as it's on tissue paper, you can put anything you want. And then we'll decorate it up when we're done. Okay, we're just going to take some Scotch tape and tape that down. And just be sure that it's close enough to the edge that you're not going to have your printed area run off of that. And usually I like to tape completely across on the edge here that's going to first feed into the printer. That way it doesn't snag up and tear the tissue paper. Also be sure to keep your tape back away from the printing area too, because we don't want to print our image on the tape. And then just any excess there, just fold it over, and then you can come along and tape the other edges. Once you've got that top edge completely taped all the way across, you can just put a few pieces here and there to hold it smoothly down on the rest of the edges, and you'll be ready to feed that into your printer. I've got one here that I've already printed out and got ready, and I'm going to do my little Craftie logo. And as you can see, I had my entire top edge here taped, and then just a few pieces down the side here and there. If that shows up on camera, I'm not sure, but it fed through the printer just fine. So now we just want to cut that out. We're just going to cut it out roughly at first, just to get it off of that cardstock. And then you want to cut fairly close to the edge of it, and just cut around. Okay, now we've got it cut out, and I made sure to leave in any shadowing that I had added to the image. I left a little piece here to keep it connected so I can keep my image together the way I had it spaced on my computer program. And we're ready to put that on our candle. And this is just a candle that I got after Christmas at Walmart one year when everything went on clearance. As long as it's a light color, it's going to do well. A darker color seems to dull your image, so you want to stick with white or cream, something light. I like to remove that bottom label too. That's not necessary, you don't have to. I just prefer to do that. Also, I have found that the candles that have a creamier look to them like this really absorb the image a lot better. So the ones that are more translucent looking don't do quite as well. Okay, so just take your image, find what you think is the best side of your candle, get that placed the way you want it, and then we're going to bring in some wax paper, just regular wax paper from the kitchen section. And I like to kind of cut it in half so that I'm only using enough to cover my image and not a lot of extra in my way hanging down. So I think I want to place this about here. I want to leave some room at the bottom for some decorations that I'm going to do. And this candle is, let's see, a 6-inch pillar candle, and my overall image is just a little over 2.5 inches wide by just a little over 3.5 inches tall. So if that helps you about what fits on there pretty good. Okay, and then we're going to lay our wax paper over top of that. I like to lay it in the direction that it was already curved around the cardboard in the wax paper package. That way it helps it lay smoothly rounded along the candle the way it should. Okay, now we're going to bring in our heat tool. I've got an embossing heat tool here, and this works really well, but you don't have to have one of these. Like I said, I did a lot of these, and that's why I bought the embossing tool. If you're only going to be doing a couple, you can use a hairdryer. You just don't want to do a whole bunch because you might burn out the motor on your hairdryer, and you don't want that. But as far as whether or not it works perfectly fine. I've done them with a hairdryer before, and it worked great. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our heat tool, and we're going to hold it kind of close and heat that up and watch it start to melt the wax of the wax paper over top of the image while kind of melting it into, we're warming the whole candle, and it melts the back side of the image into the candle, and then the wax from the wax paper will kind of seal a layer over top of it too, and it'll just become part of the candle. So you don't want to get too close with your heat tool because you'll melt little puddles in it. You just want to hold it back far enough that you start to see it take on a glossy look, and when you see it glossed over like that, you'll know that it's absorbed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I hope you all can see this on camera as it melts in. You'll also start to see that white border that we left around our image kind of disappear. Hopefully, if it shows up on camera. You want to kind of sweep evenly across it. You don't want to get one spot too hot at once. Now you can kind of see there, see on the left side of my image you still see that white border. You can't see it anymore on the right because we've got that melted in. That's what we want all the way around. Just keep sweeping evenly. Try to keep your fingers out of the way. Okay, I think we've got it melted in pretty good. Looks smooth and glossy all the way across. And we're going to give it just a couple of seconds for that wax paper layer to cool back down before we peel that off. That should be enough time. Just peel that away. And there's your image. I really, really love these. These are one of my very, very favorite crafts. When I learned how to do this, I was so excited. I was melting everything into candles. So, also up here at the top where it starts to kind of round into that top edge there, you will get a little bit of lumps and things like that. And for that, that's an easy fix. You can just take your wax paper and just kind of rub it smooth. And that'll just kind of smooth down that extra wax. I like to kind of smooth over the whole image a little bit, very lightly. Isn't that beautiful? I just love the way that melts in. I think that's really gorgeous. Okay, now we're going to add some decorations. I want to put some ribbon around the bottom here. And what I found that I thought would match my image really good was this purple. Looks like it kind of looks blue on camera, but it's kind of a dark purple. And I didn't want it this wide, so I think I'm just going to fold it in half. But first we'll measure enough to go around the candle with just a little bit of an overlap and cut that off. So I'm just going to fold that in half and pretend it's a narrower ribbon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that meet with the seam right in the front, because we're going to hide that with a flower embellishment, and then it'll just look like there's no seam at all. So, okay, now when you get that around there the way you want it, what I like to do to hold that on there is you really can't, whoops, I'm sorry, you really can't hot glue it, because the wax will just repel that glue and it'll come off. So I like to take a straight pin from the sewing department and just get those pulled together the way we want them and stick it right in the candle. Maybe use my scissors to help push that on in. Okay. And now for our flower embellishment. I found these, I think at Walmart too. They're little sequin roses. I thought that'd be really pretty. And they're sticky back, but as you can see, it just came right off of it anyway. So we're going to put it in with one of our straight pins too. Trim up my little frayed edge right there. Okay. If you've got ribbon that frays really bad, you can kind of put a little glue on that. Okay. I'm going to get my flower placed on there. And then just take my straight pin straight through the middle. Again, using my scissors to help push that in. Just push it down until it kind of hides between the flower petals there. You can use ribbon roses for this, or little ribbon bows, anything that you want to put on there. I've used little pine cones and pine sprigs and things like that for Christmas candles. Just any sort of little embellishment that you want to put on there. Okay, and now for packaging, if you want to give these as gifts, they make really, really wonderful gifts. And what I use for packaging is these treat bags. I got these at Dollar General. There were 25 treat bags for $1. Just the tall, plain treat bags. And you can just take one of those out. Open it up and put your candle down inside. And then I love that they're perfectly clear, because then you can see the decoration and the printing on your candle more than anything else. Okay, then to close it at the top, I'm going to use one of these rubber band elastics. I thought I had clear, but I couldn't find them. So we'll just use this. We're going to cover it up too. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to do this, you can use the little wire ties that come with the treat bags. And then we're going to decorate that part too. I've got some colorful little novelty yarn here. You can just use a fancy little yarn, or you can use a pretty ribbon. You could use raffia. I think I've used that before on some fall candles. could use twine. Again, pretty much anything. And then I'm just going to see how long I want that to hang once I tie it around. Woo! I'm knocking my camera all over the place today. I'm going to cut me about 3 strands of it, I guess. And then, let's see, maybe we will do it like this. Bring the loop and then all of the ends through the loop. And there you have it. They're really easy to make, and you can personalize them to any occasion. They make wonderful gifts. So I hope you all love this craft as much as I do. It is one of my very favorites. Be sure to go and give me a like on my Facebook page. That's a really good avenue for sharing photos and things like that. If you all do make some, I'd love to see them. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube if you haven't yet. And follow me on Pinterest. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.